Hey, we're back here at Giovanni's Pizza for another episode of Beagle Newspapers Voyager Media Sports Inc. We got Mike Sangiolini filling in here for Scott Taylor, who's a little under the weather. Scott's going to join us in and make sure he gets his picks in there. So later on in our pick section, so he can make sure he keeps taking his lead on me. He's been beating me up pretty good this year again. But anyhow, we're going to get right down to the recaps of last week. Saw a couple interesting games. Mike, you saw Lyle at Westmont. Some of our smaller schools in our area coverage. How'd that go?
I think right now, when I was talking to the coach last week, or I should say Friday night, he was saying that he's kind of frustrated right now because his team has a lot of difficulties really getting off the bus and getting going in the first quarter. They're having oftentimes they're having trouble starting out well. So they're trying to reverse that right now. They're 4-3 going into their game with Piatone at Piatone on Friday night. So they've got if they can get that under wraps, I think they've got enough good skill players around. I think it's Nick Saul is his name, the quarterback.
Right. Yes.
They got enough good skill players around him that I think offensively they can put up some points, and they also have some decent defensive players too that are really have a nose for the ball, and like last week there were a couple interceptions that they made, and one of the guys, Ryan Von Volkenberg, returned one for a touchdown. So they've got some decent talent on both sides of the ball. So it's a possibility. If they could get a couple of wins here in these last three games.
They need one more.
Yes.
They need one out of two.
Yep.
They got to get the one. They got the big schools coming. They got one out of two to get in the playoffs.
So I think it's very highly possible they could get in the playoffs too. So Westmont, they have a good quarter. Their quarterback Dahl and John Pisarcik, they're a good combo, but I think
that's pretty much all.
Yes, yeah, they're the coach does a good job with them. I think but a number, they just don't have the bodies there. They have all got these guys playing both sides of the ball.
Oh yeah,
so it's
the game I saw. I joked about it last year. I saw them come out. I was waiting for the rest of the team to come out of the locker room. I mean, literally, there was more. I saw them at was it Wilmington last year? There's more cheerleaders on Wilmington's sideline than there were on the football team at Westmont. And I mean, it's just so hard to compete when you just hit down that few kids. I mean, there's talent there, but there's just not enough bodies.
Yeah, I think they're lucky if they have 30 guys on that team at this point. So, but that they play. It's a good rivalry.
Yeah.
And both teams always are getting up for that, and I believe the Westmont coach used to be with Lyle. He was a lineman for Coach Dan Sanko back in the 90s. He played at Northern Illinois as well.
So you guys, yes, go Huskies. But so you saw an interesting one. I had a couple doozies this week. I was at JCA Carmel, which I said last week on the show. Carmel, that option offense is going to take them. They even went a step further. They went all out. I mean, they basically went all in and said, hey, they took their quarterback, who was their main player, their main star, their best runner. They put him in the halfback or the fullback spot of that wing offense, which obviously confused JC right at the back. Because now it goes from your quarterback being your main runner to your fullback, different set of reads. Then in the second half, they almost abandoned him completely, and they went to the pitch man, which Coach Dan Sharp said was never in film. Mm-hmm. They never used the pitch man all year. But they had to do something, and that kind of caught him off guard a little bit. But in the end, the Hilltops came out. Ty Isaac, I mean, he's a man possessor. I mean, he can't even walk up and down the sidelines half the time. His shoulder, his ankles, knee. I mean, he's so banged up, and yet he's out there willing himself to win. And this week I know it was a little extra. There was some tweeting going on back and forth. Some Carmel kids and Carmel fans tweeting out to him. So much so that Max Brozovich from Minooka tweeted out. His support for Ty and the Hillman because of the negativity coming out of Carmel towards him. So Ty was a little bit extra fueled in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised to not see him play too much more this year. Maybe some series here and there. They're playoff eligible. I think you might see him shut down a little bit more. And Tyler Reese has got to be. He's still hurt, and he was out with street codes last week with a hip. Michael Ivelo was bloodied at the end of the game. Their running backs. It was to the point where they actually had Nick Morrison, their backup quarterback, who's more of a running quarterback, playing the wingback. Because they just had nobody anymore in the backfield. So, and then the Plainfield South at Plainfield Central homecoming game on Saturday was again the Plainfield Central team that I expected to see earlier in the year, that I picked to win the conference. Just put out a pretty dominating performance and really went out. Gio Giratano broke the first Plainfield scrimmage for 70-yard touchdown. That was over with right there. So we saw some pretty good games, and we're back going to see some pretty good ones coming up. So like I said, Mike and I'll be back here with our segment of picks. So click on them. Scott will be voicing his picks as well from his sick bet, and so click on those, and thanks for watching.